Well, I was a drummer when I was 14 years old, and after I got through with my music studies in 1963 with Luciano Berio, I said, where is percussion, the dominant voice in the orchestra? In our orchestra, it's the strings. Well, the answer to that is in West Africa and in Indonesia. So I studied drumming in Ghana, and then later with Balinese musicians in California. Well, I think for concert composers in America nowadays, we're probably a little bit more harmonically oriented and therefore more understandable by the public than some of our contemporaries in Europe who have stayed close to the aesthetic of Schoenberg, Berg, and Webern, and then Stockhausen, and Boulez, and Berio, and Cage. So I think that's probably the most noticeable difference. And also, we're a lot more rhythmic, and people like that. You can certainly consider music a universal language. It always has been a universal language. It is now a universal language, and it always will be a universal language. Well, I've been very fortunate. Not everybody likes what I do for sure, but in general, I've been very fortunate with audiences and with the press. In our concerts that my ensemble, Steve Reich, musician, have given over the years here at home in the U.S. and in Europe as well as in Japan. So I guess I'm very fortunate. Well, back in the 1970s, the only real technology that my ensemble used was amplification. I grew up listening to recordings, like many people, certainly younger people listen mostly to recordings. And I wanted to bring that detail that you get from being up close to speakers to people in a live situation. Of course, rock and roll musicians do that all the time, but I wasn't trying for that volume. I was just trying to get the detail out there. Later on, I wanted to do things where you could do the same. You ever seen a movie where a film just stops and you see a still image? It's called stop action. And I always wanted to do the same thing in sound. So somebody would be talking and say, oh, that's an absolute zero. And the O would just go on. And of course, in the old days with tape, if you did that, you'd sound like Darth Vader and you couldn't understand anything. But thanks to computers starting around the year 2000, it became possible to do that right at home on a Macintosh or whatever kind of computer you have. And that's what I started doing in the video opera done with Beryl Corot, the one called Three Tales, and later with a piece called WTC 911, where I extended the last syllable in someone's voice so they then got connected to the next speaker harmonically.